Could AI be the reason that you're struggling to grow and get views on YouTube? Well, I believe it is, and it's only going to get worse because what used to work on YouTube just isn't anymore. And using AI the wrong way could be killing your chances of ever growing your channel. So I made this video to explain the big AI problem that's changing YouTube, and to tell you what you can do differently while other channels fall behind. And the answer isn't to stop using AI, but just to make sure that you're not using it in the wrong way like most people are. So the big problem that everyone's talking about is that views are down all over YouTube, and channels that used to do well just aren't anymore. And I've not only seen this, but I've experienced it for myself. My last video barely got 600 views despite using the same framework that monetized my channel in just 5 months. And while you might think that sounds good, my previous videos got thousands or even 10,000s of views. So I had to understand what was going on. And it turns out that AI is completely changing the way that people use YouTube and the internet in general. See, for years, YouTube has been a major source of information for millions of people. Even Google search results would direct people straight into YouTube videos. If you had a question or needed to learn something, the likelihood is that YouTube had the answer. Entire channels and YouTube careers were built off this fact, and it used to work really well. Then AI happened and everything started changing. Slowly at first, but now the effects are being felt all over YouTube and it's killing small channels. The big difference now is that people can get information in 10 seconds from ChatGPT, and you're now competing with AI in a game that you simply can't win unless you learn to adapt. Even Google itself has recognized this and changed the way it works. Now when you Google something, the first thing that you see at the top of the search results is a summary by AI. And for most people, that is where the search is going to end. But YouTube isn't stupid, and it's well aware of this change. So to compensate, it's changing the way that it pushes your videos to viewers. And unfortunately, it isn't helping most people. And in many cases, it means that even your subscribers aren't seeing your content. And if you don't believe me, take a look at the results from my last video. Less than 2% of my views came from subscribers, which is crazy, right? But there is a solution to make sure that YouTube keeps pushing your content in front of the right people. But it does mean that we all need to pay attention and make some changes if we want to stay ahead in 2026 and beyond. So I went back to the drawing board to fully understand what was happening and how I could fix it. And the biggest issue that I saw is that anyone who lands on your video has likely already asked AI for the answer, or they've heard it all before. And even if they haven't, with 90% of channels using AI to help them make their content, everything is starting to sound the same. You've got AI spitting out knowledge in a matter of seconds and millions of people repeating that same knowledge all over YouTube. And it's just not working, because if people don't get anything new from your content, then quite simply, they're not going to stick around. Not because your content is bad, but most likely the information inside it isn't new anymore. And with AI, knowledge travels faster than it ever has before. But unfortunately, it doesn't even stop there, because YouTube's only job is to keep people interested and on the platform. And here's the thing, from the minute you upload your video, YouTube knows exactly what your content is about. And if it doesn't give anything new or unique to the viewer, YouTube simply won't push that video to viewers or even your subscribers. You also need to consider that these days, people get bored really easily with so much content to choose from. So if you're struggling to get views right now, it's not because your content isn't good enough. It's because YouTube has never been so saturated with people saying the same thing over and over again. So what's the answer? Well, luckily, there are still channels getting big results that we can all look at for clues. And they all have one thing in common that I'm going to explain today. And I'm also going to give you simple rules that you can follow every time you make a video. What I'm seeing right now is the channels that are doing really well are making videos that only they could make. But what does that even mean? Well, to show you, here's an example of a video that I made last year which did exactly that, even if I didn't realize it at the time. I made a video about YouTube burnout and analytics obsession, which so many people have to deal with, and it completely blew up my channel. But it wasn't what I said, but the way I said it which made the video do so well. Instead of just presenting the information that I knew, I spent weeks making a ridiculous video where I dressed up in a lab coat, playing the part of the YouTube Studio app, following myself everywhere, harassing myself with notifications. My neighbours thought that I'd completely lost my mind. But that video got my channel 17,000 views at a time when I only had 300 subscribers, which was massive for me. The reason is, it was so unique. And even vidIQ commented on it because it was that different. See, from the moment that door opened and the viewer saw me standing there looking ridiculous, the viewer knew immediately that they were going to get something different, which created a gap in their mind that they needed to fill by watching the whole video. Because here's the thing, it's no longer good enough to just share information. It's all about how you share it in a way that AI can never replicate. Now, I'm not saying you need to make a silly video like I did, but what you do need to do is share your knowledge or information in a style that nobody else can replicate, using your own personal lived-in experience. That is how you're going to stand out. Share what you tried, tell people what failed, and share your own personal results. And by doing that, you're going to give your audience something that AI never can, your own personal human perspective. But where do you start? Well, there are things that you can do before you ever hit record on your next video. First, you need to understand what makes you different from everybody else. The next time you plan a video, go and watch other channels that are talking about the same thing either inside or outside your niche. And you'll notice that most of them are saying the same thing in a very similar way. Then you want to identify how your experience can make you stand out. Can you add information, challenge what they're saying, or even better, contradict it entirely? Because having a different angle or a new way to share old knowledge is the best way to stand out on a platform that's quickly becoming an AI echo chamber. Now, you might ask, what if you don't have anything different to say? And it's at that point I'd say maybe you shouldn't even make that video, because if your content is predictable, it won't make the viewer stick around and YouTube will just stop promoting it. So now, more than ever, it's really important that you ask yourself, what is going to set you, your content, and your channel apart from the millions of people that are using ChatGPT to make their scripts? And the answer is, it's you. Everything that you've experienced yourself, all of the knowledge that you've got, all of the information you've gained, just repackaged in a way that only you could tell it. So with all that said, you might be asking exactly how can I use AI to get more views and grow my channel? And the answer isn't to use ChatGPT, because we both know that doesn't work. Not only does your video need to appeal to your audience and make them curious enough to click on it, but you need to have a good solid idea in the first place. Luckily, there are some really powerful tools designed specifically for YouTubers that we can use. Tools that are helping millions of small channels create and stand out on the YouTube homepage. So in this next video, I'm going to break down a really interesting AI tool that I've been using that's helped thousands of small channels blow up on YouTube that anyone can use. So watch that next, and I'll see you over there.